everybody, son, Gosoku live for my review of Night 1 of WWE SummerSlam 2026. And right off the bat, I gotta say, this stage looked massive. It was really awesome. Really gave it that big-time WrestleMania feel. So, we're gonna kick things right off now with our very first match for the WWE Women's Championship, IYO SKY versus Liv Morgan. Alright, so the match starts off with some pretty good back and forth action between both women. I thought it was actually much better than their match that they had a month prior in the Queen of the Ring finals at Night of Champions. The match has a lot of great spots. The audience was really into it. We saw a Spanish fly from the top rope, and then I would say very early into the match, Raquel and Roxanne do get involved pretty early. Raquel just freaking awesome, does like this choke slam and then just tosses Chuck's eel like halfway across the ring. It looked sick. It looked devastating, especially from the camera angle that they had it from. And it's from there that Raquel, after she does that, eventually IYO SKY takes all three of them out with a dive from the top rope to the outside. And we get some great back and forth action, great near falls. There's a part in the match where Liv Morgan does a code breaker off the top rope, and basically IYO SKY just goes jumping off to the middle ring. The sell was good. Like, I'm talking Scott Hall selling for the Stone Cold Stunner at WWE WrestleMania 18 levels of selling. Her body just went flying. Phenomenal. I can't put over IYO SKY's selling in this match more than I can already and stuff. It's fantastic. And then so as we go through the rest of the match here, they eventually get to like the edge of the outside of the ring and the edge, and IYO SKY does a German suplex to Liv Morgan right there on the edge, and IYO SKY even eventually does the Meteora. She's doing it a lot through like the turnbuckles and the side, but here she does it right with Liv Morgan placed up against the knee, up against the what was that called, the ring post, and man, you hear the sickening thud when her knees hits the steel. It looked awesome, sounded devastating for sure, just really sickening and stuff in the way that it was sounding. And then there's a great sequence where Liv Morgan does the Oblivion, and it looks like she's nearly spiked IYO SKY on her head, but IYO SKY is able to do a forward flip basically in order to avoid the Oblivion. It looked fantastic, but when you actually thought IYO SKY was going to come back with something spectacular as another counter, Liv Morgan ends up actually hitting a second Oblivion, and she scores the 1-2-3 to retain the WWE Women's Championship. And what I could see from the front row, at least, a lot of people gave this match a standing ovation. I stood up, man. I had to tip my head off if I had one. If I had a hat off to both these ladies, honestly, for the match that they did. Like I said, this basically took their Night of Champions, Queen of the Ring finals, and just knocked it straight out of the water, sent it into orbit, deep into space, because this right here is the match that I think is going to be most remembered and everything. And honestly, I am glad that Liv Morgan retained, just because, and this has been one of my things about watching, as you guys know, on this channel right now, I do seasonal reviews, but I do keep up with the product. And I will say one of the very disappointing things is that, I know Liv Morgan character-wise goes around and says she's the greatest WWE Women's Champion of all time. But I think a lot of us would agree, when you're not defending the championship, it's probably going to be remembered as one of the worst WWE Women's Championship reigns of all time, And here's my thing. There's still time left to salvage this, but I just feel like storyline wise, Liv Morgan is tremendous as a talent. Nothing bad to say about her at all. And honestly, the booking, obviously it is what it is. And I do dig when Liv Morgan says that as her catchphrase and all that stuff and everything. I think her character work is phenomenal and stuff. But the problem here is they're coming up with these storylines where it's basically, well, all the women are afraid to challenge her for the championship. And it's like, what are you doing? That's like making the whole entire women's roster on Monday Night Raw look bad when you say stuff like that. And I just feel like, man, there's no reason why Liv Morgan couldn't have defended this world championship for the last several months that she was champion, when she won it from Stephanie Foucault at WrestleMania. Sure, plans changed. Stephanie got injured, and obviously by the fact that they didn't do this match, obviously by the fact that Stephanie Foucault didn't show up for WWE SummerSlam, or wasn't going to be cleared enough in time for WWE SummerSlam, it looks like it from an in-ring capacity. And even when they announced that they're going to run back Io and Liv, it just said to me that, okay, we're not getting Stephanie nor Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, at SummerSlam. But there weren't other women that they couldn't have done. They couldn't have pivoted, so much. Here's my thing. There's no shortage of talented women. I think currently right now, this WWE that we see right now, it has the greatest assembly of women talent, female talent than we've ever seen before. You've got a lot of rising up and coming stars like Lash Legend. You've got the current day stars like Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. Yes, she's on, her medical leave, both because of the baby and her finger recovering. But when she gets back, there you go. You've got veteran women like Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Bayley. You've got other, like I said, other more rising stars like Lyra Valkyria. You've got legends who periodically return that can still go, like Trish Stratus. You've got, and if you don't want to beat any of your current WWE superstars, you've got no shortage of talented women to choose from TNA. You have no shortage of talented women to choose from AAA. You have no shortage of talented women to choose from NXT or Evolve. You couldn't have found other women to just feed to Liv Morgan to put out there who she can have a great match with and then keep winning. And so that way she has a dominant reign. Like, yeah, that's something that I was just like shaking my head at, over the last 4 months, that it's ridiculous. I think that Liv Morgan is just now, as of SummerSlam 2026, almost 4 months after winning the championship, she is just now having her first televised championship defense. And the thing to me about it is, with Liv Morgan, is that had she lost here, it would have been devastating. Because in terms of remembering this is a great championship run, because it's like you didn't defend the title and then you just up and lost. Now it's like, okay, it's like, yeah, you can't really take that title off of her if you're still trying to make this title reign mean something. So I'm glad that they kept the title on Liv Morgan here. And hopefully now, if you're going to keep the title on her long term for the rest of the fall, make up that time you didn't with the spring and the summer. Have Liv now defending this title on a regular basis and things of that nature. So if you do have Stephanie come back and defeat Liv Morgan, it'll feel a little bit more special. Like, it means something to defeat someone who had a dominant reign. But I'll be honest too, with the way WWE had booked, Triple H and his creative staff were booking Io's title reign last year in 2025, where she barely defended the championship. Or what is it? Jade Cargill, who only got like one title defense before WrestleMania, and Liv Morgan, who's not defended the title. When you're doing titles like this, where it's unlike Tiffany Stratton, who did defend the world championship and got some big wins over some notable legends and current day superstars, to me, that actually does a lot to build you up more, especially as the women's champion. But yeah, they didn't do that with Liv Morgan. So I was like, either whether IYO SKY wins or Liv retains, if this is more the same, like if this is what we're going to get, no title defenses from Liv Morgan until Survivor Series. If this is more, it's like, it doesn't matter who wins this match and stuff like that. But when you get all that booking aside, shout out Liv Morgan. IYO SKY absolutely killed it in this opening match for SummerSlam. Kicked off SummerSlam night one to a really great start. Like I said, I thought both these ladies did a phenomenal job. I really enjoyed the match. Audience was really into it, and it's really well done. And yeah, I just want to see IYO SKY defend the championship on a regular basis. If it's still going to be a while before Stephanie Vaquer comes back, then hey, if that's the case, like I said, there's no shortage of women in WWE that they can put Liv Morgan up against and things like that. But overall, yeah, both these ladies absolutely did kill this match. They were fantastic. All right, so our next match was the Usos, consisting of Jimmy and Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu, representing the Bloodline, versus Royce Keys, Solo Sikoa, and LA Knight. Yeah. Alrighty, so this match here, this was a pretty good match. Everybody got their stuff in, looked great, but the standout to me in this match was Solo Sikoa, who was absolutely hilarious. He was mocking Jey Uso, was like, he started doing the whole Jey Uso yeeting thing, and Jey was just looking in the corner like, oh, I can't believe this mother effer, even if he is my younger brother, I can't believe this mother effer just did this. And the fans were getting into it, and after it stopped and the music stopped playing, fans were chanting Solo, Solo, and man, this was just hilarious. He was even mocking how Jacob Fatu loves to do his boogeyman strut and taunt and everything, his tribute to boogeyman and stuff. It was just great, and this goes back to what I've been saying a lot and everything. I tell my friends and stuff, like this because I know this channel is seasonal with WWE content. But yeah, honestly, this whole bloodline stuff, I just feel like everybody's outgrown it. And I think that's a testament to the talents involved of everyone with the bloodline, is that everybody is so much better off than they were when they first started the bloodline. They don't need the bloodline anymore. They're good enough to be on their own. I think the Usos can be on their own. Roman can be on his own. Sami, look at what he's been doing on his own. Jimmy and like Jacob Fatu definitely on his own before what they did hit with him earlier this year and stuff after WrestleMania and stuff. But it just feels like it's kind of going back to the same things with that. And my point is, if you look at Solo Sikoa in this match and how over he was with the audience, with his personality, he doesn't need the bloodline, which is what the story is. He doesn't want to go back, which is why he's teaming up with LA Knight. But yeah, they got something here with Solo Sikoa. And I've noticed this going back when they were trying to make him like Roman. It's like, you know, Solo's got his own personality. You know, he's got his own, he can be funny, he's hilarious, and you know, he's good in the ring. And it's like, you know, there's no need to try and make him like Tribal Chief 2.0. Let Solo be his own self. And I think there's great potential here as far as Solo as a babyface, and the fans are loving it and stuff. And I've always thought he's been entertaining, especially in the role. At one time though, I redid that part already when he runs it back and being hilarious. So in the reason why the bloodline, and I said that's the reason why the bloodline doesn't need it. Just trying to find my part in my notes here. Okay, but the big thing for me at the end of this match is at the end, LA Knight kicks out of the Uso splash and escapes the 1D and then hits the bloodline, not the bloodline, he hits the blunt force trauma. I don't know, my notes got all messed up there, but he hits the blunt force trauma to score the pinfall victory 1-2-3, which was a much needed win for all three of them. I think Royce Keys, Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, and at the end, there's even Solo Sikoa. LA Knight and Royce Keys, they hug and everything, and Solo Sikoa's like, come on, bring it in, man, bring it in. And LA Knight's not like, all right, and they bring it in, they hug and stuff, and you could just see the genuine emotion. They enjoyed working together and stuff, and it plays through the characters. Solo Sikoa, putting the past behind him, making amends and all that stuff with LA Knight. Good stuff overall. It's gonna be interesting to see where the follow-up is with the bloodline, because now does it mean Roman's gonna go back to berating his family? Because we saw him before in the past when the bloodline failed, we saw how horrific he would treat his family, and are we going back to that? Which is like, I don't want to go back to that, because I thought they did such a phenomenal job for the most part of Roman, even if he never apologized, as CM Punk mentioned many times in his match. Even if he never apologized, one of the things is Roman sort of kind of made up in his own way, his way of apologizing, saying he's proud of Jacob and Jimmy and all that stuff, and especially, Jay Uso and where he's come from, and it's like to see all of them go from that bad blood to now getting back on good terms. Why mess all that up and go back to where we were 4 or 5 years ago? Yeah, no need for that. No need for that at all. But yeah, this is great. And it was refreshing too, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, the bloodline doesn't need the win. So I'm like, yeah, give LA Knight that big win, give Solo that win, Royce Keys. So I think absolutely it's good. It is refreshing when you see the guys who could use the win actually go over. And so I really enjoy it, because I was actually thinking, okay, they're probably gonna have the bloodline going on, keep them strong for whatever. And I think that's the whole thing about this match. A lot of people I've been seeing complain a lot about that when it comes to this, is like the fans seem almost confused. They're not sure who to cheer. And you kind of feel that in the crowd reaction at times. They're kind of like, we like these guys, but then we also like these guys. And it's like, who do we cheer for? And I guess they're supposed to be the heels, but it's like, nobody's booing them, and I don't think maybe they're not doing enough to make them get booed, or maybe they're just doing the same old thing they've been doing, but you're just at that point where everybody loves and respects the bloodline and stuff. But they weren't really always getting cheered, booed anyways, even when they were definitely the for sure heels. But overall, yeah, I thought the match was good, and it did what it needed to do there. All right, so the next match was Nick Aldis versus the Ring General, Gunther. I haven't followed Nick Aldis' career that much. I did remember him though as Magnus in TNA, and so it was great to finally see him get his moment here in WWE. So the match right here, this is what I put in my notes. I said this was pro wrestling. This is a good pro wrestling match. This right here is pro wrestling. Like, if you just want pro wrestling, guys in there doing the moves, and not just moves, but making every single move count, making sure that every single thing has a purpose in the match, the in-ring work, the psychology. Like, this is about as pro wrestling as it gets, and I enjoyed every moment of it. This was, like I said, this was a really good pro wrestling match, and it's exactly what you got. And honestly, not even that story-wise, I thought this was actually perhaps the match I was looking forward to the most, because I thought story-wise, this was built up the best. This is one of the best matches built up in SummerSlam, so I really truly enjoyed it and everything. And Nick Aldis through the match was getting a lot of "you still got it." You still got it. Some, chants like that. Obviously, it looks like he never even lost it. So yeah, this is really good. I think for people who weren't familiar with Nick Aldis, this is definitely a good wake up call for him to see like, oh snap, there's a lot to this SmackDown general manager and everything and stuff like that. And so yeah, like I said, everything looked good. Everything was crisp. Nick Aldis, he's doing kick-ups, impressive running power slams like the British Bulldog, which was kept mentioning on commentary that British Bulldog versus Bret the Hitman Hart Intercontinental Championship match from SummerSlam 1992 was huge influence on him, and you definitely see a lot of the influence here. We even saw the Texas Cloverleaf get broken out, so yeah, and it was getting a lot of great reactions. Nick Aldis did a very impressive standing vertical suplex where he muscles Gunther on up and slams, and that got like a big reaction. Gunther was hitting the power bombs, chopping Aldis, trying to get away, trying to get a lot of good heat on him. He even got in Mickie James's face, taunting her while she's right next to her son and everything. Of course, they're out there to support their respective husband and father. It was great to see Mickie James, WWE legend, definitely someone, if she's not in the Hall of Fame, yeah, I feel like I thought she was in the Hall of Fame, but yeah, she's got to be in the Hall of Fame. They called her the legendary Mickie James, not WWE Hall of Famer Mickie James. So yeah, that was really cool there. And then after a lot of great wrestling action here, it was great, by the way, to see Chris Van Vliet, right there in the front row. He had an interview with Nick Aldis, and there's a part where Nick Aldis basically is getting emotional. He's crying. He's tearing up because he didn't think this moment would come in WWE, and he's hoping he doesn't let everybody down. And boy, I can say, looking at this match, he did not. Absolutely. This was a great professional wrestling match. Exactly what you were going to get if you were familiar with what these two bring to the ring. So that was really cool to see him being able to be in front row and see that match. You could see the genuine joy in Chris Van Vliet's man, I'm getting all tongue twisted, in Chris Van Vliet's face when he was right there in the middle row. But yeah, in the end, Gunther, he locks on the sleeper to Nick Aldis, and Nick Aldis actually reverses into the sleeper hold, but eventually Gunther is able to, he reverses into his own sleeper hold, but Gunther is eventually able to get him back into the sleeper hold. And then there's this one part where he gets up and he's trying to rally up and the fans are cheering and all that stuff, but eventually Nick Aldis gets tired, and unlike Goldberg and AJ Styles, they had Nick Aldis go the John Cena route, which was tap out. So he tapped out. I thought they were going to go ahead and sleep, and I'm always curious to see, are they going to do the 3-arm drop, like that, where they can build the suspense on the third, or are they going to just do the 1-arm drop and call it one and done, right? So yeah, Nick Aldis ends up basically tapping out, and Gunther walks away with his victory, which honestly I felt like he definitely should have. He definitely should have walked away with this victory, because in all honesty, with that being said, with Aldis walking away with the victory, while it would have been a great moment in terms of the live audience, we have to remember I'm always a big believer in WWE that as a fan just watching, you should book your wrestlers to justify the booking. If you book this guy, Gunther, which they did, to beat John Cena, beat Goldberg, beat AJ Styles, be the one to retire AJ Styles, that has to hold a lot of weight with it. And therefore, you really want to protect this guy. And a lot of people felt that, man, they didn't do that with Cody Rhodes. And it almost feels like they just want Gunther to be right at the cusp of that world title. But when it comes to like certain big stars, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, probably even Roman Reigns if he eventually fights him and everything, we're not going to put Gunther that far. So that's kind of what it always feels like and everything. And some people feel like he's kind of cooled off since getting those big wins. So it's definitely something that was needed. He definitely needed to go over Nick Aldis, but I think Nick Aldis should have definitely impressed here. And on the post show, Triple H, he was gonna resign as general manager, but he said no, you're still here, general manager. He ripped up the resign contract that he had, or the resignation and stuff. The resignation. I can't speak tonight, right? It's almost like midnight. It is midnight here and everything. We're gonna still go ahead and get through this review. But yeah, he decided to say no. You are still. He said you're a man, and he shook his hand. He said you're still going to be the SmackDown general manager. So hopefully Nick Aldis will wrestle again. Maybe it's a part-time thing, but yeah, I would love to see. I think he should come back. I would love to see him wrestle again and stuff like that. Obviously, he still has a lot to offer because he's still like in his late 30s, I think. correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I'm still in his late 30s. So yeah, overall, this was really good. And we were halfway through SummerSlam at this point. It's like, man, this is really good. And I was really looking at how are they going to handle a lot of this, honestly. Were we going to get a lot of ads, and were we going to get a lot of this? And no, we didn't. We didn't get a lot of ads, thankfully. So I'm like, all right, night one of SummerSlam is definitely cooking more here. All right, so our next match was Fatal Influence, consisting of JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Lainey Reed versus the Bella Twins, Brie and Nikki Bella and Paige. When it came to this match, all right, I would say that this was certainly not a bad match, but it was a match that I thought honestly didn't stand out compared to the other show. So it is what it is there in terms of it. I mean, the matches and what you got from all six women, it was good for what it is there. One of the particular matches that I took note of here was Brie Bella. I think she got slammed into, I don't know if it was from Fallon Henley or Lainey Reed. She gets slammed, I think shoulder first into the steel steps. I could be wrong on the spot. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head because I didn't really get as much notes down as I wanted to for this match. And you'll notice that Brie Bella was favoring her shoulder throughout the rest of the match. And so, yeah, and you really start to see at the ending, like, oh, this is serious. There's no reason for her to keep selling that like that, the way she's selling it almost, kind of. Because you could tell, like, certain wrestlers, they'll still do their moves and then continue to sell. But when they're in real big pain, they're going to struggle with trying to do certain things. So, yeah, that was the thing about this match. And overall, the one nice thing I'd say that was really good here was that JC Jane, she picks up the win by pinning Paige and everything. And so, yeah, Fatal Influence walks away with the win. Of course, Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed have the Women's Tag Team Championships. The fact they didn't put JC Jane in that ladder match for the Women's World Title match, just even be able to have a showcase in there, I thought was crazy. But yeah, they didn't do that one. I mean, I would have wanted to have her get showcased in that and everything. But hey, at least Lash Legends in there, so they are showing, they are at least taking some of the up and coming women to put in that match. But we can talk more about that tomorrow night on night two's review. The big thing is, I felt like this match was kind of what you would see on your standard Monday Night Raw or standard SmackDown match. But I think the biggest reason why this match was on the show was for the ending. And this is where I'm going to say, if you came to the review looking for, holy crap, I didn't see that coming. Oh, snap. Nikki Bella turned on him. Dang. Holy crap. Nikki Bella actually turned. Yeah, if you think you're gonna get that, you're not gonna get any of that out of me, because let's be honest, man, I've been following the Bella Twins' career in WWE since I was a teenager in high school. Some of you out there who are younger than I am, you've probably been following the Bella Twins since you were kids. So even now, if you're in your early 20s, you know what it was. Now, if you were shocked, by all means, I'm not trying to destroy your fandom and everything. Enjoy fun, have it. If you're shocked, go ahead and be shocked. Obviously, might be your first rodeo around here for WWE, but yeah, I mean, this is just in the nature of the Bella Twins. Like, there's nothing that I ever said this was never gonna happen. This wasn't gonna happen. I mean, even by history default, and I know it's been a while, but if I remember going back a decade ago, that was the big feud for a long time in the women's division around like that 2014, 2015 period. Like, I think mid 2014 to about early 2015, wasn't it? Paige and AJ Lee feuding with the Bella Twins, and that whole thing was going on. So it's like, yeah, even the last time we saw Paige wrestle, she wasn't exactly on good terms with the Bella Twins from a storyline standpoint. Obviously, we know they're close in real life and everything. But yeah, there we go. And it's like, you just kind of figured out, okay, Nikki and Brie were supposed to win the tag team titles. Didn't work out because of Nikki's injury. And so Paige comes in, and there she is. And it was great to see Paige return. And it's like, okay, once Paige and Brie lost the titles, and I thought they had a really good tag team run as champions. Once they lost the titles, like, okay, Nikki's probably on her way back. Thus, Nikki does come back. And I figured, okay, Paige is probably going to lose. Paige is going to lose this match. And Nikki and Brie are going to turn on her for taking a lost, and that's exactly what happened. You could just read this, like, you know, this is not too much different than what happened at SummerSlam. What was it, back in 2013, was it? No, not 2013. It was SummerSlam 2015, almost 11 years ago, right? Nikki turning on her sister Brie. Like, it just, this is what happens with the Bella Twins alive and everything. So, yeah, I saw it coming by, and I was like, okay, I think this might be setting up. Maybe AJ Lee's going to return back again on a part-time basis and team up with Paige, and they're going to run that back. But whatever plans they did have, Triple H mentioned on the post show, they might have to actually pivot. Because as it turns out, Brie Bella indeed is injured. A guy who was a journalist at the post conference asked Triple H, and Triple H did not even hesitate. He was like, yeah, she's definitely injured. He said that's all he knows. She said she's at the hospital getting the scan done, see what's wrong with her shoulder, but it doesn't look good. And it's crazy to think, I know this was probably in their plan, but it almost feels like maybe now they should have pivoted. And maybe they didn't know at the time how bad Brie's shoulder was, but maybe they should have pivoted, and it'll be a thing where Paige is going to stick with the Bellas this time, and it's just going to be Nikki and Paige teaming up. But it's like, oh man, they just did this heel turn, and now it's going to probably be Nikki one-on-one feuding with Paige and stuff. Because you even saw in the beatdown, Brie didn't get that much into it. She was holding her shoulder, and she did a few stumps to Paige, and that was it, and stuff like that. But she didn't like really start laying things in like Nikki Bella was. So unfortunate. Hope Brie Bella is able to get better soon. And yeah, it's crazy, man. We finally got Brie Bella back this year, and we're getting prolonged at the Bella Twins. You know, we haven't gotten a lot of time yet this year to see the Bella Twins back in action, you know, in the tag team division. So it is what it is here, but I am hoping that we get Paige soon, getting back into some singles action and just basically making up for lost time, you know, wrestling a lot of the big superstars that have come up in the last decade, and being in there and hanging with some of the current day fans. I mean, the current day wrestlers, female wrestlers. It's crazy to think, like I said, Paige is really young. Like how old is Paige? Like, I don't even think she's 30 yet. Let me look it up. WWE star Paige. Yeah, she's 33. So she's very much still, you know, she's pretty much the average age as most of the women on the roster and stuff. And that's just show you how early it's been since how young she had to retire and things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, match was what it is. And you could even tell with the audience, the crowd heat, the audience, they were trying to preserve their injury. They were trying to preserve their energy for the next two matches that were to come. But hey, this did what it did. We'll see how they pivot from here. At this point, like I said, I can only think that we're headed towards a Nikki Bella and Paige feud. And it's basically, the storyline's probably going to come out like the Bellas were basically full of BS. They were just using Paige, and then once Nikki got her spot back, boom, they're going to throw her to the side like she's nothing and stuff, and we'll see how it goes there. So yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with it. All right, the next match was for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk. All right, so Cody Rhodes, he comes out to a Street Fighter theme entrance since he's playing Guile in the Street Fighter movie. So hopefully we see another cool Street Fighter-like entrance tomorrow night, or well, now it's midnight, later today for Roman Reigns as he's playing Akuma tomorrow. Akuma in Street Fighter. So CM Punk, he comes out. Actually, I forgot what was CM Punk's reference was. Let me check it out right quick. CM Punk wore a custom green and yellow jacket and ring gear, paying direct tribute to the historic Minnesota North Stars NHL team. But yeah, if you're a sports fan, NHL, there you go. That's your thing right there. All right, so but that basically being said, the match starts off with some pretty good intense tying up and chop action between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes back to back. And then from here, it's crazy. It gets really crazy. This is me thinking that it's crazy because it's like wow, two of the biggest stars from AEW are now here in WWE fighting for the the WWE Championship. Like, imagine telling someone 5 years ago, back in 2021, like, oh man, look at CM Punk and Cody Rhodes in AEW. Those are the guys half a decade from now that's going to be fighting at WWE SummerSlam for the WWE Championship. You would have probably looked at someone like they're crazy, like me, like I'm crazy. But you know what? It happened. It's real life, and it's going on now. And that's what we got. So it is crazy to see how things worked out in the world of professional wrestling like that. But yeah, there's a lot of good back and forth action. At one point, CM Punk jumps on the barricade with a nice flying clothesline to Cody Rhodes. So there's a point in the match where CM Punk gets, and I think either a kick or a knee on Cody Rhodes, and it buckles his knee. And this would play into the role of the match later on with CM Punk's knee. He's able to still land his running knee strike in the corner, but before he can do the bulldog, Cody Rhodes stops CM Punk in his tracks and drops him on his knee, does the whole knee breaker move, and from there, Cody Rhodes starts to work CM Punk's left knee. So this has become a big factor in this match. Cody Rhodes just starts going to work on CM Punk's knee from the part of the match, just twisting it everywhere, putting him in leg locks and stuff like that. Now, at one point, Cody Rhodes goes for a disaster kick, but in midair, before he can land it, once he turns around, CM Punk hits a big boot, shutting Cody down quick. You start to hear the fans do the dual chants, "Let's go, Cody Rhodes," saying, "CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes." So yeah, it was getting really loud. Like I said, they were saving their energy for this match compared to the last match. So CM Punk, he's able to eventually push Cody Rhodes when they're both battling on top of the top rope, and once he pushes him off. Once Cody is pushed off, CM Punk hits the go to sleep while still appearing to sell the leg, and he does make a subtle change when he's selling. He starts shaking his leg. He goes for go to sleep, but Cody Rhodes is able to elbow him in the face and get him down and hit him with the Cody Cutter and gets a 2 count. Now Cody Rhodes eventually makes his way all the way to the top rope and does a twisting Cody Cutter, landing in about the middle of the ring and hitting CM Punk, but Punk kicks out at 2. But there's a really smooth counter, and I thought this was really smooth, where CM Punk does a go to sleep to Cody Rhodes, but right before Cody's face hits his knee, once Cody lands on his feet, he grabs CM Punk by the knee and sweeps under his other leg that's still standing and turns it into a figure 4 leg lock. Transition was smooth AF. Man, it was good stuff. Then there's another smooth transition at one point when CM Punk goes for a pinfall cover to see it goes for a pinfall cover. CM Punk, he basically rolls Cody over and transitions it perfectly into the Anaconda Vice, which Cody is able to break out of because he gets his leg on the ropes. There's even some nice selling from CM Punk where he goes for a kick on Cody Rhodes and ends up hurting his leg, and he has to shake it out. So really love those little subtle details that CM Punk would put in there as he is trying to continue to sell the leg and show the beat down that his leg is taken in this match. And then there is a part, basically you hear him yell out, you hear him yelling out in pain, and then he talks, then he has to tough it out and goes back to delivering a bunch of big knee shots to to Cody Rhodes, and that's what CM Punk is doing. He's the one toughing it out, yelling out in pain and things of that nature in the corner, and that's where he gets Cody Rhodes down in the corner with all those devastating knee shots right to the bottom corner turnbuckle. Now at one point in the center of the ring, Cody Rhodes goes for a spinning Anaconda Alabama slam, but before he can land it, CM Punk lands on his feet and takes Cody Rhodes down to put him in the Anaconda Vice right in the middle of the ring. Now Cody Rhodes takes his leg and eventually forces CM Punk to let go of the Anaconda Vice, and when CM Punk tries to tie up Cody's legs to go into a pinfall, which he does successfully get over Cody is able to just go ahead and bridge up and reverse it into the crossroads for another very near fall. Audience is going crazy at this point. Match right here, I was feeling is straight fire. Both guys just going back and forth. Great action it's just some great, excellent action. Now, eventually, CM Punk does a moonsault, which is something he hasn't broken out in quite a while, and he does very rarely, and it looked like he whacked Cody in the head almost way down. Like, when Cody, he missed his whole upper body, and his knee almost came right crashing down on Cody Rhodes' head. And Wade Barrett, he does a good job trying to cover up for it on commentary, saying that Cody Rhodes was able to move mostly out of the way. But yeah, Punk nearly looked like he took Cody's head off with that one. Now, CM Punk, he does eventually land the go to sleep, and though Cody goes down, Punk takes a while to get to the pinfall because he hurt his knee that he has been worked on all through the match, and that's been worked on all through the match in the whole process of the match, giving Cody just the right amount of time he needed to recover to be able to kick out at 2. Now, after some battling outside where the announce tables they're cleared off on the tops, Cody Rhodes throws CM Punk back into the ring, only for Cody to get right back into the ring and follow it up with a GTS, which he does escape losing by grabbing the bottom rope, this time when he does the kick out and everything. CM Punk then puts Cody Rhodes onto the English announce table and goes to the top of the rope in the ring. You could just tell the way Cody Rhodes is looking at CM Punk like, oh, he's gonna miss this. So CM Punk, he jumps into the air for the flying elbow from the turnbuckle to the announce table, but Cody Rhodes gets out of the way and CM Punk lands leg first onto the announce table, and I was afraid. That reaction was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh snap, I hope he didn't snap his leg or something like that. Yeah, he landed leg first, but it looked like it was all part of them working into the match, just working it out into the match. Because, yeah, that was a huge risk for CM Punk to definitely take with his injury history and things like that. But, yeah, he's still going out there putting on huge matches like this. So the announce table did sound horrendous, too, when it broke. CM Punk landing leg first, and the commentators are mentioning that, how, that's the injured leg. So once the action gets back into the ring, Cody Rhodes goes for a Cody cutter, but CM Punk gets out of the way, and he lands it on the referee Charles Robinson, knocking him out of the match completely. CM Punk then does the go to sleep to Cody Rhodes, but Cody is able to take CM Punk out again out of the ring by hitting another crossroads on him. From there, the crowd goes wild because Randy Orton makes his return back to a huge ovation from the audience and hits Cody Rhodes with the 3 most dangerous letters in WWE: RKO. And then Randy Orton, he basically winks at the camera, and at the hard camera, that is, and he runs out of the stadium clapping as he's running away and everything. Fans love seeing it, and that's the thing about Cody Rhodes. Even though the fans love him, Cody Rhodes is to the point where he's not so beloved as a babyface, where Randy Orton's being a complete jerk of a heel, fans are still wanting to cheer him, and we saw that throughout the WrestleMania place and everything like that. So from here, CM Punk, he gets back in the ring and lands another go to sleep to Cody Rhodes, and Charles Robinson crawls over and does his good old classic Earl Hebner slow 3 count, where it's like 1, and then it's like 2, and you would always have Jim Ross on commentary, no, not this way, and then 3, and he's like, damn it, the no good SOB, he cheated, and all that stuff. So yeah, CM Punk retains the WWE Championship, which I gotta be honest, came as a shock to me. I'm thinking, okay, I don't think there's another PLE, correct me if I'm wrong, but in 2026, I don't think there's another PLE for when they end up doing their next I don't think there's another PLE for when they end up doing their next show. Basically, their next show until after the Street Fighter movie? So I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna want Cody Rhodes to get that WWE Championship, have Roman Reigns the world champion, and have them go into like those movie premieres as the world champion, so they can say these are our 2 big superstars that are both our world champions representing the brand, and they're both in the Street Fighter movie. But yeah, looks like I got that one completely wrong. So I mean, I guess there's still time. It's like October 16th, or at least sometime that the movie comes out, so they still got time to put that title on Cody Rhodes. But yeah, I did not see that coming. I thought maybe they'll put it on there, but truthfully, it didn't matter who won. Cody could have won. CM Punk could have won. The thing about this is both guys are already firmly established as WWE main eventers. Both guys have had lengthy world title reigns for the championship, and it's like, yeah, it could have gone either way, and that's what we got out of there. It could have gone either way, and there's what we got. So yeah, I'm cool that CM Punk won. It is what it is there. CM Punk is still the champion, and so we'll see how things go from here. Looks like they're going to go ahead and continue the Cody Rhodes Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton feud. It'll be interesting to see what's next, as CM Punk did call out one of the next participants in our next match we're going to talk about for the main event on the post show. But interesting enough, this is another pattern. Cody Rhodes, for the second year in a row at SummerSlam, has had a far better match than what he had at WrestleMania. That match he had last year with John Cena at SummerSlam 2025 blew their WrestleMania match out of the water. This match that Cody Rhodes had with CM Punk blew his match with Randy Orton out of the water. So yeah, it was interesting. It was good to see that there, and yeah, hopefully they can stop this trend like next year. Hopefully whoever, whether it be Triple H or TKO, hopefully next year Cody Rhodes has a banger of a WrestleMania match and a banger of a SummerSlam match. But yeah, this match absolutely cooked. Definitely I can see it ranking very high. It will probably rank very high unless all these matches next tomorrow night or later on tonight blows everything out of the water. Yeah, this match is definitely ranking high. I can imagine in my ranking of all the SummerSlam matches. All right, it is now time for our main event. Hell in a Cell. Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi. All right, so Oba Femi comes out to a huge reaction. Audience is constantly, doing the Oba strut, saying, Oba, ooh, Oba, ooh, Oba, ooh, basically and all that stuff and everything. So that was really, really cool. And then from there, they milk the crap out of the audience for quite a while. And Brock Lesnar, he comes out wearing elbow pads, which is something we haven't seen since the Ruthless Aggression era. So yeah, all those who grew up with Brock Lesnar back in the early 2000s, you already would know that and stuff like that. So Michael Cole, I thought he did a great job on commentary. He was mentioning how he gave a shout out to Taz, who would always, and growing up, as a teenager watching SmackDown, you would always hear Taz go ahead when Brock Lesnar's music hits. He would always come out and say, well, here comes the pain. The way he would do that, man, that was good. That was classic. That was awesome, Michael Cota, to go ahead and shout out Taz like that. So yeah, when Brock comes out, he also mentions Brock's history in Minnesota, from basically winning the NCAA championship, winning the WWE championship there, even trying out for the Vikings, and then also he mentions how the history, this is the second Hell in a Cell match in WWE SummerSlam history. Is the first one was in 2008, Undertaker against Edge. I remember that. And they even mentioned the two Hell in a Cell matches that he had with Brock, that Brock Lesnar had with the Undertaker, going back to the first one at No Mercy 2002 and the second one at Hell in a Cell 2015, both which were excellent Hell in a Cell matches. So yeah, it's really cool. And this is one of the things that I have really enjoyed about Triple H taking over, is that they just would not acknowledge that type of history. When they had that second match, WWE did not acknowledge that there was a first match, No Mercy 2002. They also treated like this is just a trilogy between The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Didn't acknowledge their earlier rivalry from the Ruthless Aggression era, and Triple H, he acknowledged that. And I'm glad they do, because it just gives more credibility. Like, that's a big deal to have defeated The Undertaker twice in Hell in a Cell and things like that. So yeah, that was awesome. So Alicia Taylor, she does the introduction for Oba Femi, but Paul Heyman, he takes the mic from her and does the introduction for Brock Lesnar. He mentions how Brock Lesnar is fighting out of the University of Minnesota, which gets a huge pop from, of course, the Minnesota audience and everything. I was actually there in Minnesota a few months ago and got to check out the Mall of America, including the spot where the first ever WCW Monday Night Nitro took place. I do have it on video and everything, and I'll eventually get around uploading it. Just been super busy on my main Dragon Ball channel, but yeah, I'll eventually get around to uploading the footage to share here. But yeah, I have been in step foot in the place where big professional wrestling history took place. It was really awesome. But getting back to the match here, Oba Femi, he comes out hot on Brock Lesnar, just running basically with the forearms into the turnbuckles, but Brock Lesnar eventually is able to get out of the way, and he delivers 3 German suplexes to Oba Femi, but Oba Femi, he pauses comes back up, no-sells them, and clotheslines Brock right over the top of the rope, and he goes, and Brock's body ends, the momentum ends up taking Brock into the cell. They start slamming each other hard into the steel steps outside of the ring. Michael Cole even mentions how much Mr. Perfect meant to Brock Lesnar's career, talking about Kurt Hennig, of course, who's also who went by the name Mr. Perfect in WWE, and he also is from Minnesota, so that was a big nice way. I just really love how the commentary tied in all the history together here. So Oba Femi, he then Irish whips Brock Lesnar hard to the table, breaking it, and it looks like it's a very impactful blow because Brock's body, it goes through the table, and then his body ends up hitting the cell wall, and it bounces off of that. So that was really, really cool. But as Oba Femi gets in the ring, Brock Lesnar devastatingly hits Oba Femi with steel steps. Yeah, those shots looked nasty. They sounded nasty, especially when Brock hits them a third time with the steel steps. Yeah, no, these were chair shots with the steel steps. Yeah, these steel steps, the way Oba was sending, he got his hands up to protect himself, but yeah, it just sounded and looked great. Brock Lesnar, he then hits 2 more German suplexes, and we start to see the welts punishment starting to form on Brock Lesnar's back. At the point, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, we are in war here. This is a war, and that's what it felt like watching this match. So Brock Lesnar, he then starts doing the standard suplexes to Oba Femi, with the third one landing right to the steel steps, so that had to be painful. And in a great counter, Brock Lesnar goes for the F5, but Oba lands on his feet, Irish whips Brock into the ropes, picks him up, and just slams him down hard. And at one point, Brock Lesnar tries to do an F5 on Oba Femi again, but Oba counters and turns it into a choke slam, and then he picks Brock back up and throws him. Doesn't really like toss and throws him halfway across the ring like he did at WrestleMania, but he picks him up and kind of sort of just drops him down and everything and stuff like that. But hey, still being able to do that to Brock Lesnar is amazing strength. Brock from here, basically, it looks, basically Oba Femi hits the fall from grace powerbomb to Brock Lesnar. But this time, Lesnar kicks out, even though it took only one to finish him last time. So we are seeing development here, Brock being a little more tougher than he was in his first match against Oba Femi. And in a callback to his 2015 match with The Undertaker, while in the position of pinning for the fall from grace powerbomb, Brock Lesnar sits back up to like The Undertaker and then delivers 3 F5s to Oba Femi, but Oba kicks out at 2, which falls in exactly with where they were going with the match, basically, because if you all remember, Brock Lesnar took about 7 F5s to finally put Oba Femi away, so it would make sense there for the sake of consistency that Oba Femi is kicking out, basically, because that's what it takes to beat him. So I did enjoy that they stayed consistent with that. In the commentary, they're doing a great job showing the shock on selling the shock on both men faces, because at this point in the match, they've hit each other with everything they got, everything, and it's still not enough. I'm gonna take a quick water break here. All right, and then another callback from the 2015 Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, he pulls apart the canvas, so he takes off the mat padding and everything, and another great moment, callback to his, this is another great moment in the callback to his match in the Hell in a Cell. Brock, he gets the F5, but Oba actually, he gets the F5, so at this point, Brock has Oba on his shoulders, and he actually turns Oba around and reverses it into a tombstone pile driver right to the exposed wood part of the ring. But Oba, and Brock does the whole pin, that whole type of pin like The Undertaker, but Oba kicks out at 2, and he just starts powering up and everything and stuff, basically, and Brock can't believe it. It is crazy. Audience starts going wild at this point, as that gets a huge reaction from there. And so Brock, from there, he gets the steel chair up, and Oba just boom blasts the steel chair right out of Brock Lesnar's hand. Brock just starts selling. He's like, oh man, he can't. And his hands are stinging from there. So man, that looked just really super powerful. And it's from here that Oba Femi then gets Brock Lesnar into the fall from grace powerbomb. And 1, 2, 3, your winner, the ruler, Oba Femi. Now, I actually was shocked. I was hoping that Brock Lesnar was going to lose this one, because I'm like, if they don't have Oba Femi do this, then what is the company doing here? What is the company doing here, right? What is WWE doing here? but it almost looked like, and with the exposed, I almost wonder it looked like, because you see there's a point where Brock Lesnar's laid out and he looks over at the wood and then he just goes back to selling. There's a thing where I was wondering, was he supposed to pick him up and walk over to the wood and then go ahead and do the fall from grace powerbomb, which I'm pretty sure would have sucked for both of them, right? Brock's back landing on pure unprotected wood, and Oba landing, butt first on at full weight onto the full the wooden exposed wooden area of the ring. Like, yeah, that probably would have definitely stuck on his lower back, and everything. But I think that's what they were trying to do. But there must have been some not miscommunication, but mistime or misposition. Yeah, it wasn't positioned right, and so he does it on the padded area and stuff. So would have been nice if they could have pulled the spot off. Would have been nice to see the fall from grace power bomb on the steel, on the grounded area, on the wooded area, the exposed wooded area. But it is what it is there, and everything, but it was ultimately the right thing to do. So what's very interesting, what's going to probably be most remembered about this match is Brock Lesnar. He basically goes he's halfway up the ramp. He goes back in and he gets back in the ring, and he basically goes to shake Oba's hand, but then stops and just gives Oba a big hug, and the fans go wild. And in the background, Paul Heyman and Oba Femi shake hands, and Brock grabs the microphone and he basically says, he then points out to himself, he says, basically everyone, he says, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching around the world watching this, and he drops an S-bomb here tonight, let us give it up for Oba Femi. And then he points to himself and says, I want to say, I'm the past. And he points to Oba Femi. He's the future. I'm the past. He's the future. So that was really cool to see. And from there, he hugs Oba Femi one more time, or no, he gives Oba Femi a big pat on the back, and him and Paul Heyman exit the ring, going up, and they're basically leaving it open. Like, is this going to be Brock Lesnar's match, or is this it? Because this is where it was rumored that Brock would actually be having his final match and everything. But like Triple H says at the press conference, Brock Lesnar's going to do what Brock Lesnar wants to do. That's just how it's going to be. So from there, essentially Oba Femi, he celebrated in the ring, and we get to basically see Oba Femi as he gets during the post show. He's interviewed on the press conference ramp, and he says deep down inside he knew Brock Lesnar respected him, and he says deep down inside he knows he said deep down inside Brock knows that Oba Femi respects Brock Lesnar. So that was really cool to see, and everything like that. And even on the press conference, Oba Femi was on fire, talking about how he, like CM Punk, he said something along like, yeah, you've got good talent. You've got good talent. He said, yes, you are gifted on this mic, but you are gifted on this mic, but I am gifted too, and your bombs can't save you from Oba Femi. Something along, like he says something along those lines. Like, the man has just I can't do the accent, but yeah, the man has such a commanding vocal presence on the microphone. So I thought that was good. So they're teasing Oba Femi and CM Punk. Hopefully we'll also get Oba Femi versus Roman Reigns. So we'll see. And the way they were talking, he still has that championship match. So hopefully this wasn't him just giving up his championship match, and he's just postponing it to a later time. So I'm interested to see where they go from there. And I think it was Peter Rosenberg that had asked, said, can we put an end to the whole thing about, Brock Lesnar just shows up to work to beat up people and leave? And Oba Femi basically mentions how, yeah, he's a father too. Brock's a father, and he is human. He's superhuman, but he's human nonetheless. And he essentially just thanks Brock Lesnar for everything that he's done for him. Triple H at a press conference said that Brock recently in an interview said that Brock Lesnar certainly was getting behind Oba Femi and everything, and really believed in Oba Femi and was spending hours and that much time with him and stuff. And yeah, and he basically, Oba Femi puts down like the whole idea that Brock Lesnar does not care. The whole idea that Brock Lesnar does not, basically, he doesn't care essentially unless about the business. He just wants to show up, collect his paycheck, and leave and everything. So that's really good. And as someone who's seen some of Brock Lesnar's interviews in like the 2000s, there was one time he's being interviewed about Kurt Angle, and he's like, oh, Kurt Angle, he hit me hard, and I came back and hit him hard and everything. And he always defended the pro wrestling business. Like when someone wanted to call it fake or anything, he saw it with Dana. He's like, he called Dana White out when he was with WWE. So at the end of the day, Brock Lesnar, you can tell, does love the business and everything. And you can see the effort he put into making Oba Femi look like the big star. I still stand by what I said earlier this year. I don't think, and I didn't say it on this channel, but I was telling my friends and stuff, I thought Oba Femi should have won. Oba Femi should have won the second match. I don't even think there was a need to go ahead and do the next match, but if you're going to do that match, you could have had Oba Femi beat Brock Lesnar there, and then Oba comes back and beats him again here in Hell in a Cell, and almost just play it just like the way they did for the match they did at Survivor Series with Oba Femi. Was it? Yeah, they did that. No, not Survivor Series. They did it with the trilogy match with Triple H and Batista, where Batista beat him at WrestleMania. Then at Backlash, he beat Triple H again, and then he gets in Hell in a Cell. And Triple H, I remember on the DVD saying, like, people are going to be like, oh, there's no way he'll beat him in this time, and he did. And he was the first person and only person for the longest time, I think, to beat Triple H for 3 PLE matches at the time, pay-per-view matches straight. So, yeah, I thought Oba Femi, they could have given him that big treatment. Have Oba Femi be the one to dominate and defeat Brock Lesnar. So now that it looks like, but they didn't go that route, but still, it all worked out in the end. Brock Lesnar lost at WrestleMania SummerSlam. He lost to 2 matches that counted the most when it came to Oba Femi. Now, when it comes to this whole endorsement, it was really cool because it just reminded me of like Brock Lesnar essentially getting past the torch from The Rock, you know, just the way The Rock took care of Brock Lesnar to get him to project his career as one of the biggest superstars of all time. I feel like that's what The Rock can do for someone like Brock Lesnar and things like that. No, like the way The Rock put over Brock Lesnar to send him to the top. That's what Oba Femi just experienced, I feel, with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar took Oba Femi and gave him that endorsement and things of that nature. So here he played the role of The Rock. Brock Lesnar did. He played the role of The Rock, and Oba Femi played the role of the young Brock Lesnar. And hey, who knows? Maybe a couple of decades from now, we can see Oba Femi doing the same thing for whatever young and upcoming talent is there, or at least maybe in the next 10 years or however long Oba Femi plans on doing this. But overall, I did enjoy the match. I will say, as a Hell in a Cell match, I thought Brock Lesnar's previous 2 matches with The Undertaker were better. If I had to rank them, I would say this match with Oba would be number 3. The second match he had with The Undertaker would be number 2. And the first match he had with The Undertaker at No Mercy 2002 was the top 1. Yeah, they didn't really utilize the Hell in a Cell as much as, like, say, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre did back in 2024, but the action that we did get inside Hell in a Cell was good. I thought this was the best of Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi's matches, and I can say their matches progressively got better. Even with Brock winning that last one, I still thought it was better than their WrestleMania match, even though the first one had the right outcome. So yeah, Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, they worked really good together. This is really great. Brock Lesnar even, you know, doing a lot of call outs to his, a lot of callbacks to his matches with The Undertaker. So that worked really good. Overall, it was a really good main event match that I think delivered action-wise as far as what was going on inside Hell in a Cell. And looking at everything overall, I would have to say SummerSlam Night 1, it absolutely cooked. SummerSlam Night 1 absolutely cooked. All the matches were good to, I would say, even great, particularly when we get to the last couple of matches, but everything went down. And sometimes with WWE, you get a really good, strong Night 1, but then you don't get a good, strong Night 2. And I'm hoping that this momentum continues. Hopefully Night 2, you let the men and women go out there, do their thing, no head scratching booking decisions, let them go out there clean, win the match. And I'm like, if that's the case, then I think we're looking pretty good. I think we are looking pretty good, and hopefully Night 2 ends up delivering. But Night 1, excellent. I thought Night 1, it was a blast. So much better than WrestleMania 42 Night 1, that is for sure. My review of Night 2 of WWE SummerSlam 2026. All right, so the very first match was supposed to start off with Sami Zayn versus Finn Bálor, but no, we were given a big swerve. So Nick Aldis comes out, once again going back to his duties as general manager of SmackDown, and it's through there that he ends up saying that he has put the past behind us, or the past behind him, and has basically made amends with Gunther, and introduces him as the third participant, which Sami Zayn is absolutely livid at, because man, this guy has been through the ringer, especially trying to get that world title back. But then he says, nah, we still got one more, and it is none other than the return of Kevin Owens to a massive pop. I got out of my seat watching. I was like, yes, let's go, Kevin Owens, man, because what he went through with his neck over the last year and a half, not knowing if he would get back or not. Here he is. Kevin Owens made it back, worked hard, and was in this match. Fans were going crazy. You had people in the audience crying. Just it was great to see. A huge moment. And so this match ended up becoming a fatal four-way, which, I mean, Finn Bálor versus Sami Zayn, you knew that was going to be an awesome match. But you put Kevin Owens and Gunther in the mix, man, you are going to get some great in-ring action, and great in-ring action did we get. So Kevin Owens versus Finn Bálor versus Sami Zayn versus the Ring General Gunther. So the match was very much off to a hot start. Kevin Owens was flying everywhere with punches, taking out Gunther, taking out Finn Bálor. Sami Zayn was shocked. He was looking, my man was up here, Sami Zayn, looking like he saw a ghost the whole time during the whole entrance, while everybody's going like, yay, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, Kevin Owens is back. Sami was like, y'all know, if you're a big Dragon Ball fan, it's not uncommon in the world of Dragon Ball or anime to see big giant reactions like, that's exactly what Sami Zayn was like through the whole thing. And so yeah, he saw a ghost, and the two of them end up hugging and embracing for what I have to say was probably a very real moment. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the best of friends over the last quarter century. And then from there, after the embrace, they just start punching each other and everything. The match was filled with a lot of great offense, with Bálor doing some of big spots everywhere. Gunther kept really applying his sleeper a lot throughout the moments in the match. He would keep working as like a great interception. So like he gets his like when Sami Zayn would get up to go ahead and do like the haluva kick, you would end up seeing Gunther go in the middle, and he just go ahead and lock that sleeper hold on and everything and stuff. So it was really great how they utilized that. There's a point in the match where Kevin Owens, he does the same was it the senton bomb, I can't even remember. My mouth is all bearing, but he does the Jeff Hardy thing, swanton bomb and everything to Sami Zayn in his knees. Basically he gets the back of his knees, but he ends up selling his neck, and they're playing up the fact that Kevin Owens' neck, he's fresh off of coming back from neck surgery and everything, and so that's gonna really be targeting. And it is from there we get towards like the end of the match, and Kevin Owens, he just starts going crazy, just laying everybody out in the match with the Stone Cold Stunner. And I should say that this is the Stone Cold endorsed Stunner, as long as he wins the match with it. That's what Stone Cold was saying. He's like, all right, son, you go ahead and do that Stone Cold Stunner, but you better make sure you win that damn match. 1, 2, 3. And Kevin Owens, he wins it when he usually uses it. So yeah, which good, it protects the Stunner. If you're gonna use a Stunner, show why it was one of the most devastating finishers in WWE history. What Stone Cold used to say, I'll drop you on that stack of dimes you call a neck. What? Oh my gosh, good moments, everything. You guys all know I'm a big Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. And actually Kevin Owens said during the post conference that he thought Stone Cold was insane for thinking that when he came out, he wasn't getting that big of a reaction. He thought the people had forgot him, because when you see Stone Cold coming out there WrestleMania 38, he's looking in the crowd. I thought he's just posing for the audience, but maybe he was actually trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And so from there, Kevin Owens said he understand now, because when he got there, he says just that you can't hear the loud reaction when you're looking at the stage, but once you get in the ring, it all hits you and everything. Yo, shout out to my boy Gino in the chat. What's good, man? Thanks for joining. And so as we get over here to the match towards the end, Kevin Owens, he indeed hits the Stone Cold Stunner on Sami Zayn, who I thought did a really fantastic sell. He like kind of, once he drops to his knees, he like bounces up and he like stiffens his entire body up and goes and turns to his back. Looked phenomenal, looked devastating, looked like he definitely got stunned, making sure the move lives up to the name. And Sami Zayn, after he gets the 1, 2, 3 pinfall on the receiving end, that is, Kevin Owens, he gets the big victory. Audience goes wild with Kevin Owens and everything. And man, we now are on a collision course for the WWE Championship. Kevin Owens versus CM Punk. Oh man, can you just imagine? The match is going to be good. But can you just imagine the promo battles? And for those of you who have followed Kevin Owens before he was Kevin Owens, going back to Kevin Steen days, I'm pretty sure you all are very familiar with the history of him and CM Punk outside of the WWE, as well as what can be happening here. You know, when it comes to the WWE side of things, CM Punk ended up leaving the same year that Kevin Owens ended up coming into the main roster. So it is going to be phenomenal. And this is definitely I'm looking forward to the fall, heading into the fall now for WWE SmackDown, because I think this definitely freshens things up and things of that nature. Because when you look at everyone in this match, they could have gone back to CM Punk versus Sami Zayn. We just saw that. They could have gone back to CM Punk versus Gunther. We saw that once last year, but Kevin Owens, it's a match we've never seen. And I like to see opponents, basically. I like to see when it's newcomers, basically, against it. You know, shout out to in the chat there, Notorious Heel podcast. I was listening to some of the stuff they were saying last night in their review, and I think it was something they mentioned about AJ Lee, how they wanted to see AJ Lee take on wrestlers who she never took on before. And when you do have a legend come back to WWE, I want to see them compete in new fresh matches that we haven't seen in WWE. Don't like spend this precious time you have with someone who's back for a limited amount of time and just do the same match over and over with them, and mostly do matches that they've done before. So CM Punk's back. Yeah, let's see him go in there against Kevin Owens, something new that we haven't seen in the WWE ring yet. So I definitely thought this is the right decision. It's really good, and honestly, you can make a really good storyline here, how Kevin Owens can brag on a mic, said, hey, I came back and on my first night, I did more work to earn that shot at the title than you did, CM Punk, just walking right in here. So, man, that would be something, and things of that nature and stuff like that. At the post show, Kevin Owens, he did a lot talking about how he never knew if he was going to come back or not. And it was hard. Big E was a big help to him, his friends, his family. He gave a shout out to a lot of the people that worked with him, from trainers who was doing all the therapy with him, the physical therapy to get him back right, the surgeons and his assistant, the surgeon and his assistant. So really good things. And this is really cool right here. He gave a big shout out to Tanea Brooks, who, of course, wrestling fans know better as Rebel. And I want to get the quote right here of what he said. There's somebody called Tanea Brooks who's known to wrestling fans as Rebel. She has not wrestled here, but some things are bigger than wrestling. She's currently battling ALS, and the way she's doing it is so incredible. I look at her and what she was going through and the way she powered through it, and it was truly inspirational. Man, that hit emotionally hard, because it was really cool for Kevin Owens to give that shout out to Rebel, because yeah, it is terrible what Rebel is going through. But through it all, and I've been seeing her videos building awareness of ALS, and to see that despite her body breaking down on her, it's still all there. She said in one of her videos, it's still her. It's still her inside there. Still the same brain, still the same personality, and hearing her laugh and still show that type of courage and strength, and still try to bring awareness through what she's going through. It is truly inspirational, and I really think it's cool that Kevin Owens went out of his way to give her a shout out there on WWE programming, because like he said, there are some things that are more important than pro wrestling, and that's definitely one of them. This is truly, it's not a wrestling thing. It's not an AEW thing. It's not a WWE thing. This is an inspiring thing, a building awareness thing, and just taking the moment to recognize her strength, and the fact that her strength was able to be something inspirational. Kevin Owens, I think, is truly remarkable. And I'll say too, I remember watching Rebel going back on TNA wrestling and seeing her come into AEW, and always thought, yeah, and she's entertaining and everything and stuff like that. And through it all, I just want to say definitely hearts, prayers, everything with Rebel. I want to say thank you, Rebel, for all that you have given to professional wrestling, all your contributions, and us wrestling fans. I'm pretty sure I can speak for all of us. We are wishing you the absolute best through this difficult time. Continue to fight and build awareness, and to definitely know that you showing so much strength with what you're going through, it is inspiring to all of us, and it's building awareness. And just once again want to say thank you, Rebel, for your contributions to professional wrestling, and even more, thank you for your inspiration and how you are contributing even right now. Thank you. And yeah, that's just really good to see, and it is great to see Kevin Owens back for sure. All right, so in the chat we got double E 9736 says Owens versus Punk versus Zayn in a triple threat for the title would be ROH historian's dream in a WWE ring. He's an old school fan right there, you can tell. Yeah, I'm definitely pretty sure we're gonna see this. And I don't think we're seeing the last of Sami Zayn, so for sure, yeah, in the title picture and things of that nature. All right, so the next match was for the WWE United States Championship. Baron Corbin versus Trick Williams with Little Yachty. All right, so Baron Corbin comes out, but I wish he was still using, was it the what was the song that he had with Jim Johnson? I think was his song also called The End of Days. I forget if not. I know that's the name of his finisher move, but yeah, I wish he still had that theme song. That was Jim Johnson's last song with WWE. But yeah, it's been cool to see Baron Corbin come back and everything. And Little Yachty is introduced as the self-proclaimed greatest man to ever breathe, and I believe that's what Alicia Taylor said. I'm like, okay, well, you know, you gotta have confidence in yourself, that's for sure. He definitely thinks highly of himself and stuff. But yeah, I have loved the Little Yachty and Trick Williams pairing and everything and stuff like that. All right, so Baron Corbin and Trick Williams, they trade blows a lot. Eventually outside the ring, Baron Corbin, he gets into it with Little Yachty and pushes him into the barricade, only for Little Yachty to go ahead and bring out a metal pipe. Corbin backs off and gets in the ring. As wisely pointed out by Wade Barrett on commentary, Corbin doesn't want to risk a disqualification victory, meaning he wouldn't get the title. But when the referee's not looking, Little Yachty actually hits Baron Corbin in the back with the metal pole or pipe, and the referee didn't get to see it. I'm pretty sure he heard it, but he didn't get to see it. So I guess he just wants to, you know, basically put it in a place where, you know, he's gonna be lenient because he knows the championship's on the line. But towards the end of the match, Little Yachty tries to get involved because Baron Corbin grabs the United States title and tries to use it while the referee is distracted with Trick Williams. So Little Yachty stops Baron Corbin, and in the process, Trick Williams runs towards the ring apron to try and push off Baron Corbin. Corbin is able to escape, and Yachty ends up accidentally going through the table to the outside, while Baron Corbin and the referee are distracted by Little Yachty's well-being. Like, is he okay? Is he gonna be all right? Both of them are looking off. Baron Corbin, he takes this opportunity. He grabs up the FUTURE United States Championship title, which that's definitely something. I thought it was funny and everything, but I didn't ever get too bent out of shape. I know some wrestling fans probably don't like it because it goes against tradition, but hey, I actually did dug the United States and WWE Championship designs John Cena made back in the day, so fur coat didn't bother me. It's something that makes Trick Williams stand out, and I think it fits his character perfectly. But yeah, in the meantime, with the FUTURE United States Championship, Baron Corbin, he whacks it across the face of Trick Williams, and then the referee stops checking on Yachty, and he comes over as Baron Corbin makes the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Baron Corbin, that quickly right back to WWE, is once again the WWE United States Champion. And man, I was flabbergasted. I was like, this genuine shocked me. And this is why it shocked me, you know, because Triple H, he was talking on the post-conference about reactions, and basically I'm thinking Trick Williams, he's a young and upcoming guy, and he gets one of the hottest reactions, arguably the hottest young thing with the audience in WWE today, next to probably Oba Femi. I can make sense of it. I'm like, I just can't. Like, I'm flabbergasted because I'm like, man, you got a guy who's Trick Williams, he's young, he's over with the audience, and I would assume that you want to keep pushing that forward, and you're probably going to use someone like Baron Corbin, who's an established veteran, to use that to further help establish someone like Trick Williams. But that's not the direction. Instead, regardless of the reactions, regardless of all that, I'm not sure as far as what went in there. They wanted to put the title right back on Baron Corbin and reestablish him as a threat on the main roster. And, you know, nothing against Baron Corbin either, because Corbin's one of those guys who, you know, during the later years of Vince McMahon from the 2010s, you know, going back to like the reality era, early into the pandemic area, Baron Corbin's someone who got a lot of flack. You know, they threw everything and different gimmicks all at him and different characters. And I say to Corbin, I've always praised him because this guy tried to make everything work. everything, the Constable Corbin, even when they had like him being the bum Corbin and stuff. He tried to make everything work. And in the end, he was really getting something there when he was teaming up with Braun Breaker. And then, of course, they released him and now he's back. So it is cool to see Corbin get another chance. I just thought they wouldn't want to cool off Trick Williams' momentum here, especially when I'm not sure if they're going to be putting him right into that world title picture. I'm like, okay, this is good. Build him up as the United States champion, build him up as the mid-card champion. He's gotten over as a babyface. It looks like they finally have embraced him as a babyface, just as the audience has done so. But yeah, I guess it is what it is there, and things of that nature and stuff like that. Yeah, it is what it is there when it comes to it. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see where they go with Trick Williams. I just hope, I don't think his reactions to the audience is gonna cool off, but yeah, I just think that when you got momentum and it's hot, you're on the ball with it. We'll see where this goes. Like I said, if anything comes out of this, hopefully it is a renewed push for Baron Corbin, and we see that push get to Baron Corbin where he's able to be this character that is just, I think, probably more closer to himself than what they were giving him in the mid-20 teens there. But yeah, man, I definitely would have loved to seen Trick Williams continue on as the United States champion and continue to build that up. So we'll see where things go from here. I just hope this is not them cooling off on Trick Williams and they're still going to push full throttle with him because he is one of the hottest young acts over with the audience right now in WWE. So yeah, I definitely love to hear what you all think in the chats, or if you're reading in the comments on this decision. Do you think it was right? Do you think now is the time to take the title off of Trick Williams to build up Baron Corbin, or would you have liked to see Trick Williams continue being built up as the United States champion and use someone like Baron Corbin to continue to elevate him? Want to know definitely what you all were thinking there. The next match, the 5-woman ladder match to determine the interim WWE Women's World Championship. Lash Legend versus Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill versus Chelsea Green. All right, so basically for this match, I did have, to be upfront with you guys, I did have some unforeseen issues that came up during this match. So I was kind of trying to balance keeping my eye on the match and trying to take notes, and then also dealing with some issues that was going on, but everything ended up being okay. But based on what I did see of this match, I can definitely say it looked like it was straight fire. A lot of cool ladder spots. I really did like the part where Tiffany Stratton got powered bomb onto the ladder by Lash Legend, because Lash Legend was definitely looking like an absolute beast in this match. And shout out to, we had a lot of Prince tributes going on with Tiffany Stratton, being that they were in Minnesota. A lot of Prince tributes with Tiffany Stratton wearing white and purple, Jade Cargill was wearing white and purple, even the baddies B-Fab and Mia Yim came out wearing purple and white. By the way, if you haven't been to the airport over in Minnesota, there's a whole dedicated Prince dedicated store they have. It is really cool. But yeah, getting back to the match here, the audience, they were super hot for Chelsea Green anytime she got close to the title. Every time she kept getting close, climbing that ladder and nearly grabbing the title, fans were going absolutely wild. There was a part where Tiffany Stratton is on top and she's about to grab it. Of course, Tiffany Stratton, she's from Minnesota, but Chelsea Green, they've kind of formed an alliance recently. Chelsea's like, I don't know what to do, and Tiffany's like, don't do it, and Chelsea's like, I gotta do it, and then she pushes the ladder over, and Tiffany, to improvise so she doesn't fall straight down, she ends up doing the senton/swanton bomb and takes out all the women in the front outside and everything. And as the match was going on, towards the end, it was really coming down to Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair, and I figured they probably weren't going to win this match because I was figuring they would cancel each other out, since their feud was originally supposed to be a non-title match at SummerSlam, but of course with Rhea Ripley's injury, they had to improvise. And so Chelsea, her legs is actually all caught up and she's like hanging upside down. So once Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair cancel each other out, take each other out, they fall from the ladder. Chelsea uses her core strength to put her up, so pull herself up, and she starts climbing on top of the up to the top of the ladder, and the audience starts going wild. And Michael Cole is there she goes wild and everything. The audience goes wild, and as Chelsea Green climbs up the ladder, she grabs the Women's World Championship. And I really love this. You see the audience, they do a panning shot, and you see the audience all just jumping up with their arms up and stuff. Ended up jumping out of my seat, cheering like, yeah, let's go. And what it reminded me of, going back to SummerSlam 1998, there's a great shot when Triple H grabbed the Intercontinental Championship from the ladder after Chyna gives The Rock the low blow and causes him to go down, and Triple H is just holding the title. You just see all of the Madison Square Garden audience behind him all just rise up out of their seats cheering and everything, super happy. That's kind of what it reminded me, seeing that wonderful shot of that. And Michael Cole is very happy about this. He acknowledged her as a world champion. So it looks like even the interim world championships will count as in the official record books as being a world champion, which I wasn't sure if they were going to do that, because I was like, if they're not, then it's like these women are just fighting a glorified number one contenders match. And it's like, what does it mean to even hold that title? Because I know in UFC, if you're an interim world champion, you are still considered in the record books a world champion, even if you end up losing to the previous world champion that comes back and you don't win the Undisputed World Championship. So yeah, I was a little shocked in terms of this. Like, Chelsea Green is someone who I wouldn't have mind winning, but I just didn't see the way they booked her. And Chelsea Green, in even her own interviews, have said she wouldn't want to take on like a more serious, dramatic character, because she knows that with WWE you get more opportunities by being that character that they can always rely on, when they know, okay, we can put her out there, she'll be entertaining, do something funny and everything. But yeah, this was a welcome addition. It's just with the way Chelsea's been built up, I don't know if they were going to build her up as a serious opponent where Rhea Ripley's going to come back in her face, get in her face and be like, you've done well to become world champion, and I see how dominant you've been dominating everybody in the division, but you haven't dominated me, and now mommy's back. I think she was going to come out and say something like that. Like, it's hard to see them putting Chelsea in not like that face to face, like when they did Charlotte and Jade against face to face with Rhea Ripley, whereas Tiffany Stratton, I'm like, okay, maybe they want to make Tiffany the first ever woman to hold the United States women's title and the world title, and Tiffany Stratton's a big match I don't think they've done yet with her and Rhea Ripley. She's been saying that she wants to have that match, so I'm thinking like, yeah, it just seems like I'm thinking they're gonna go with the safe bet. They'll go ahead and put it on Tiffany Stratton, because they know they can have her carry the division, because arguably I think Tiffany Stratton, she's had the best women's championship run, I think, out of like the last some of the four champions. Like, compared to Jade Cargill, IYO SKY, and Liv Morgan, Tiffany actually was defending her world championship on a regular basis, beating legends and top names today, even if they did spam her and Nia Jax a lot for during that title reign. And so yeah, they went with Chelsea Green, and I'm glad for it, because and I told my friends in our chat, I said, I'm so happy for Chelsea Green. She has worked so hard to get here. Freaking awesome, because she goes back. And I'm like, even if she only has it for a short period of time, like Sami Zayn, and just gonna drop it to Rhea Ripley as in the Undisputed Championship match right away, they can never take this away from her. Chelsea Green will forever go down in WWE history as a women's world champion, and it is so well earned. And I mean, I go back, Chelsea Green, I remember I first saw her when she did that storyline in 2014, about 11 years ago, where she was the therapist for Daniel Bryan, and she was sort of the mistress therapist, and the idea was to try and accuse her as Daniel Bryan, as the one Daniel Bryan was cheating with on Brie Bella. And of course it all turned out to be a lie from the Authority and everything like that, and she ended up getting beaten up by Brie Bella, which is something they can definitely play up on if they ever want to go that route now that Brie Bella's back. Hopefully she gets well soon. But yeah, to go from that, the coming going on Tough Enough, I remember, and she getting cut, and she had so much passion for the business, and she went into TNA, and on the independent scene, TNA, she really made a name for herself, came back to WWE, got released by WWE, kept getting injured, and she said even now she was supposed to have a lot of her girlfriends from Canada come on up, but then Canada, something happened with the airport where they stopped traveling from the Canada border into the US border, and she's like, man, something can't go right. And she even dedicated this win to Michael Hayes, and I can imagine on the WWE Unreal show, they might come out. It's going to be interesting to see what Michael Hayes says. Is it going to be a thing where he'll basically be like, I was wrong, Chelsea Green proved me wrong, and I'm going to stand here completely wrong? Or will it be a thing where he's going to be like, see, we got them, we got the fans, you got to always let them know they're not in control. You got to look, because I think that's what he said about Roman Reigns winning the 2015 Royal Rumble on one of these WWE documentaries or DVD releases and stuff like like, was this all part of the plan? And the thing about Unreal, shout out to Geekdom 101, who also runs his channel, The World of Geekdom. He says the thing about Unreal, and I believe him on it, I'm with him 100% on it. They tell you what they want you to know. It's hard to tell what are they trying to do. Are there certain parts that are part of their own story narrative, or are we seeing the legit thing? Who knows? For all we know, this is something they put in there just to go ahead and make it something to where it looked like Chelsea Green was never going to win, and then she does, or if that was his real feelings. Even The Undertaker was basically, when he interviewed Michael Hayes, he was like, yeah, he thinks Chelsea Green basically has needed to start earning more than what she's given. Like, she deserves more, and Chelsea has earned it. She has worked so hard to get to this point, become world champion. So very much like her husband did in 2016, he ended up becoming the Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania. She ends up becoming, well, the world champion, but she got her big moment just like her husband got his big moment last year. So hey, yeah, hopefully we can see Matt Cardona get that world title reign one of these days too. But yeah, like I said, overall, I couldn't be more happy for Chelsea Green. This is great to finally see it. You love to see it. I don't know how long the title reign is going to last, how long Rhea's going to be out, but yeah, and now that Chelsea's the world champion, would love to see her pick up some big wins. So it is so well earned, and I'm glad to see her get her moment. That is for sure. All right, we come to our next match, which I know a lot of wrestling fans would say is probably right out of the Vince Russo playbook, bro. You know, it's always been said when Vince Russo's booking the pole match and everything and stuff like that. And I'm not one of these people that will, bash Vince Russo. Like, I get it. I understand there were some ideas, a lot of ideas, obviously, that didn't pan out with him, but I do think he contributed his fair share to the wrestling business, particularly in the Attitude Era, when he had a good filter and stuff, when he had someone to filter his ideas and everything. Yeah, got to give respect to everybody who's contributed when it came to pro wrestling. But that being said, a human monies on a pole match. Dominik Mysterio versus the undefeated Danhausen. I think WWE has done an incredible job with Danhausen. When he was in AEW, I didn't get Danhausen. I didn't know who he was. And I'm like, he never really appealed to me. But you take a character like him, you put him in the WWE marketing machine, and WWE's always been good at knowing how to basically take characters and turn them into merchandise, printing money machines and stuff like that. And that's what they've done. And I think the stuff they've done with Danhausen has definitely been entertaining. They got mainstream publicity when he like cursed the Knicks and then uncursed them. I don't follow NBA. I don't follow the sports and everything. Nothing against sports, but it's just not my type of thing that I follow and everything. But that being said, WWE took advantage of that, as they should, with the publicity they got, the mainstream publicity they got from it. So Danhausen comes out with Bret Hart inspired gear, and I thought it looked really awesome. Great way to pay respect to the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret Hitman Hart. Match start, but the match starts off with pretty standard back and forth action. There's a hilarious part on commentary where Michael Cole mentions this will be a spectacle and human monies, and in which case Wade Barrett responds, human monies? He's like, what other money is there other than human money? So I thought that was a pretty funny line. It doesn't take too long for shenanigans to get started in this match. JD McDonough comes out and basically ends up coming out to interfere, and JD McDonough, he ends up getting attacked by the mini Danhausens, and he just starts choke slamming them, and these were some massive choke slams. I mean, JD McDonough is not the biggest guy on the roster, but when you're putting him up against little people here, and he's picking them up with one arm and choke slamming them like he's the Big Show, choke slamming cruiserweights, it looked devastating, right? But yeah, they started fighting back and doing some impressive moves, because I think one of them is the former El Torito, right? So he starts doing some Hurricane Ranas and high flying maneuvers, and he does like a jumping torpedo spin and in the ring, and even does a tornado DDT, and at one point he does a suicide dive into like a senton bomb, and it basically looks like he bounces right off of Dominik Mysterio's shoulders, and his head even goes in a barricade as Dominik still catches him, but they go on the ground. Just wow, yeah, it looked pretty crazy. From here though, Joe Hendry eventually comes out to take out JD McDonough as he smashes the guitar over JD McDonough's back. Jeff Jarrett style, and Wade Barrett makes a joke on commentary that no one should ever smash guitars like that. They're very valuable items. So towards the end of the match, Dominik Mysterio almost has a bag full of human monies, but then an explosion happens out of nowhere because Dominik Mysterio has been cursed by Danhausen, and from there, Dominik Mysterio falls to the outside of the ring, and Danhausen grabs the human monies and wins. And after this is pretty insane right here. I thought this was probably one of the funniest things in terms of this whole ordeal. Danhausen pretty much decides to take the human monies and starts flinging them into the audience at the front row. And I'm like, these people paid so much money for did you guys see the ticket prices for them? I'm like, I'm pretty sure these people got money. I'm pretty sure, even if they didn't pay for it, I'm pretty sure someone who ever gifted them got money. So one way or another, whether they know someone who got money or they got money themselves, somewhere connected to them, they got money for those front rows. So maybe it's their way of saying, okay, we're going to give you some of that money back, throwing it back to the front row. I was thinking that if you're going to give that money out, start going all the way to the top of the edges, because even those people up in the, as they call them, the nosebleed leads, they paid some good money to come to the show. So yeah, even I think gives it to Nick Khan's son, and I'm like, we know Nick Khan got money for sure. So yeah, and then you've got Michael Cole, you've got Wade Barrett, they're begging for some of the money, and as it turns out, it's basically fake money with Danhausen's face on them and everything. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny when you know how much them tickets cost and all that stuff and everything. But overall, I thought the match was entertaining. I was, somewhat sports entertained by it, but I thought it was better. I actually thought it was better than, and this is a little spoiler for my ranking match, I kind of thought it was a little bit more, it was more entertaining than the 6-women tag match from yesterday. It did entertain me more, so I'll talk more in depth about that why when it comes to the ranking that I'll be doing tomorrow or Tuesday when I rank the matches and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a fun match. I'm not going to rank this match high, but yeah, I thought it was entertaining for what it was. You knew it was going to be a comedy match, and that's what you got out of there and stuff. So, I mean, if you were expecting anything other than if you were expecting something like this is going to be a classic technical wrestling brawl, then I don't know what you were expecting, because what in the storyline and the way this whole storyline has been brought about, what made you think it would be elsewise? So it was entertaining for what it was. All right, we're going to get to our next match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Penta versus Chad Gable. All right, you got a lot of, see, now if you want a great technical wrestling match and you were expecting that human monies match, you weren't going to get it, but you got it here. And if you expected the opposite, this is going to be a comedy match, and I don't know what you were watching and everything. I mean, everybody interprets professional wrestling different, but yeah. That being said, man, this is a lot of great technical wrestling starting out, great chain wrestling, high flying action in one. Chad Gable was definitely doing his inner Kurt Angle with lots of chain German suplexes. There's some other cool spots where Chad Gable does a moonsault in midair, and Penta ends up super kicking him to avoid it right in midair. It looked great. A lot of the match really comes down to Chad Gable selling the shoulder, and Penta does his best to work the shoulder, even putting him in a submission hold where he snaps the shoulder, back and everything with his arm going back. And at one point, I believe Chad Gable, he goes for a super kick. He does like his best Shawn Michaels to Ric Flair WrestleMania 24 impression when he says, "I'm sorry." When he yells mouths, he goes like, "I'm sorry," and then does the kick. There's also a part where Chad Gable does eventually land a flying headbutt, which I'm surprised they're still doing that, given the stories of what we've heard that move cause when it comes to like some of Daniel Bryan's neck issues. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that helped contribute to one of the things that was a big contribute to Daniel Bryan's neck issues, possibly the flying headbutt. Once again, I stand corrected if I am wrong on that, but I heard it did a lot of that move did a lot of damage to Dynamite Kid and Chris Benoit. The horrificness that came out of that, just absolute horror that came out of that. I'm like, man, I'm surprised there's still London wrestlers do that flying headbutt, but it is what it is there, and things like that nature. Once again, I could be wrong, and if I am, I stand totally corrected. If the flying headbutt did not actually contribute a lot to the names that I just mentioned, then like like I said, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments and stuff and everything. I'll definitely admit to that, and I own up to that. But that being said, there is a cool part where Chad Gable, I think he does like he goes for a flying headbutt or a splash, and Penta catches him in the leg and goes under his legs and stuff, and he basically locks in the ankle lock. No. Penta did catch him in a submission when Chad Gable came flying, so I got it mixed up there in the notes. But yeah, towards the end though, Chad Gable is able to get Penta's leg, go up under Penta's legs, and then basically to get him into an ankle lock, and then he does a full body mount across Penta's leg with the ankle lock still applied, and Penta immediately in the middle of the ring starts tapping out, and Minnesota goes absolutely wild for their hometown boy Chad Gable, who has finally become a singles WWE champion with the Intercontinental Championship, winning it in the for the first time. Man, he's been on the main roster in a decade. Penta also shakes Gable's hand and gives the Intercontinental Championship and wraps it around his waist to Chad Gable, and we get a beautiful moment where Chad Gable gets on the microphone and says, while standing next to his kids, his wife, and his parents, that he was born right here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that he is the WWE Intercontinental Champion. This match and the result of it was a long time coming for Chad Gable. Chad Gable's been around for so long, and it sounds like the song is starting to get over. Fans are chanting Gable, even though I do prefer the American Alpha theme. But yeah, man, we've been watching Chad Gable for so long, going back to the NXT Black and Gold days when Triple H was in charge. And you remember American Alpha to coming over here, and he knocked everything out of the things they could. Like he even said on the post show that Shorty G, those were some tough times for him, and stuff like that. And Chad Gable, he's up here, and he had overcome so much. He had a great thing going on with Otis, and then it just kept getting shut down, and he did the Americano gimmick, and then he got injured, and he comes back and he has a tremendous match with Ludwig Kaiser, also as El Grande Americano, and that match was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal at AAA and stuff. Undertaker, man, the stuff that Undertaker and his creative team are booking, man, good stuff there. And yeah, I'm glad that Chad Gable is getting a renewed push, as he should. He has earned it. This one is well earned, and I just hope that he gets a strong Intercontinental Championship, and hopefully Chad Gable is able to show that, hey, he is, to the higher ups there in WWE and the creative team, that, hey, he is worthy of being the world champion, and hopefully they give him a run with it one of these days and stuff. They might give him a run like Sami, just say, hey, here, you got the world title, and then we got to get right back to the big stars, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was well earned. This is a great moment to see Chad Gable get in front of his hometown and celebrate with his whole family there. All right, it is now time for the main event for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. So Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, they get a very nice video package that showcases their 14-year history. Seth Rollins comes out. I'm not sure what he was referencing to, but it kind of reminded me of Buzz Lightyear's colors. So I don't know if it was a tribute, given that Toy Story 5 came out or something and things. So I could probably be off. I'm not sure. If not, the reference went way over my head and everything like that. But yeah, shout out, by the way, Toy Story 5 I thought was phenomenal and everything like that. But that's a whole nother story for another time. That being said, Roman Reigns, he comes out not with a Street Fighter theme entrance, because I know he's playing Akuma in the Street Fighter movie, so I'm thinking, they gave Cody Rhodes a Street Fighter theme entrance, maybe they'll give it to Roman. But no, Roman just comes out, and his entrance is already good enough as it is. He comes out once again with the head of the table theme that he's been using, as opposed to I Am Greatness. He's been using head of the table. He switched back to it during WrestleMania 42 earlier this year. All right, so the very start of this match, it's pretty much all Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns and Seth do a big tie-up, and Roman gets a couple of good shots in with some shoulder tackles, overpowering Rollins. But Rollins mostly just keeps outmatching Roman at everything. Every counter, and he even gets him out of the ring and keeps hitting him with the suicide dive after suicide dive. And the commentary is huge to make out how Seth Rollins is constantly staying one step ahead of Roman Reigns. So from there, Seth Rollins, he takes the announce table apart in a eventually goes to another dive against Roman, but Roman is able to nail the Superman punch and hit the drive-by dropkick to Seth to finally start getting the match back in his favor. The commentators also mentioned that the referee is going to give a lot of leeway when it comes to this world title match. The battle then spills into the crowd, some typical Attitude Era brawling in the audience we get. When they're fighting, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins start fighting by this yellow steel they have, some sort of steel platform they have, and Roman Reigns suplexes him directly onto that steel, and you know that had to hurt for Seth Rollins. And then Roman goes for a spear, trying to spear Seth Rollins through the barricade, but before he can, he gets hit with a knee by Seth Rollins, which Seth Rollins jumps off the top of the barricade and lands a jumping knee right to Roman Reigns. And from there, Seth Rollins then goes in the ring to break up the count, and I'm sitting here like, man, I'm pretty sure a lot more than 10 seconds have passed by, because they went from outside the ring through the barricade and fought all around the entire audience, did the suplex spot on the steel, got back in near the where the ring where you count the ring bell, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was a lot more than 10 seconds. Yeah, through that whole thing. But like I said, referee's going to give a lot of leeway. The commentators did say that on commentary. So that being said, so here's something really cool that I find refreshing. We all seen the spot where time and time again someone does a running spear into the barricade. Well, this time Seth Rollins, he tries to do Roman Reigns' warrior cry, the ooh ah, and right before he can land the spear, Roman catches him and turns it into a guillotine, and Roman then picks Seth Rollins up and does a power bomb to Seth Rollins through the announce table. But then shortly after that, Seth Rollins ends up catching Roman Reigns and turns it into his own very power bomb through the announce table, and then there's a big dramatic 10 count to see who can get into the ring. Seth gets into the ring first. Roman barely gets in before the 10 count finishes, but immediately after, Seth Rollins hits the pedigree and lands it right in the middle of the ring and gets an extremely close near fall. Fans start chanting, "This is awesome. This is awesome." You know, and that was a great long sequence right there, and this is where the match started picking up a lot of heat and everything. And then we get another insane near fall when Seth Rollins goes for the stop, but Roman pops up and lands the Superman punch on him. I'm telling y'all, this was a really close near fall. So Roman Reigns, he eventually gets up and he does the warrior cry, ooh, all right, and he runs full force at Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins does a big leapfrog, and Roman just crashes face first at full force, running force, right into the middle of the turnbuckle and bounces off into the middle of the ring of the canvas. And Seth goes for the pin, and it's another near fall. Like, I'm telling y'all, insane near falls. Like, I knew the match wasn't gonna end, but it just kept coming so close. Like, that referee had to be like this, if this is the canvas, the referee's hand was right here, and Roman's already like, oh, you know, kicking out and everything. Seth's like, oh man, these are some great near falls, man. Shout out. They literally were waiting right at, I gotta say, 2.9 out of 3 seconds before they decided to go ahead and land that one. But yeah, that being said, from here, Roman starts getting angry and starts trash talking Seth and trying to put him away. Roman basically getting super angry. He gets raw, he starts talking, all that trash talk to Seth Rollins, and he picks him up and he does the running back and forth in the ropes. But before he can run back and land the spear, Seth ends up jumping in midair in spear position. Roman runs into him and boom, Seth basically catches him with his own reverse into the spear, nails Roman Reigns down. And when we get from here another insane near fall, audience is going completely wild, jumping out of their seats. They then amp up the microphone audio so we can hear the trash talk, and Seth Rollins starts saying that the only reason that Roman is number one is because they made him number one, and now tonight he's gonna take it all back. Seth Rollins then delivers a buckle bomb to Roman Reigns and then attempts to go to the stomp, but Roman gets out of the way and then delivers a buckle bomb of his own to Seth Rollins, and then the curb stomp, and the audience is going insane. And then we get yet another near fall, and the place dang near blows up. You can see the whole audience of humanity, there's just a whole bunch of humanity jumping up and down, going crazy, man. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh man, like I was so into the match and everything. And the commentary is on point as Michael Cole just starts saying he is showing how much frustration is coming out of both these guys in 14 years. Just really, I will say that Michael Cole and Wade Barrett just did a great job of illustrating Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins' facial expressions and mannerisms and what it meant. They were on point with the commentary. Really love the commentary in the match. So Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins are on their knees, trash talking back and forth at one another, saying mostly it's always just been me and you, and then they start colliding with blows once they get back to their feet, so the audience is going wild for each shot that they're trading back and forth and all that stuff and everything. And Roman, he smacks Seth Rollins so hard eventually that Seth goes flying into the referee, knocking him out, and Seth does another punch, does this like reverse into the ropes clothesline where he propels himself and nails Roman Reigns, which is something that John Moxley as Dean Ambrose used to do a lot, I believe. And then I think that was his tribute to him and everything. And then Roman Reigns pulls out another tribute to John Moxley from his time as Dean Ambrose when he does the paradigm shift, the underhook suplex, the underhook DDT and stuff. And so they're both paying tribute to their former Shield brother and John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, and from that time in the Shield. So it was really good how they ended up paying tribute to him, and especially since he's in AEW and things like that. So Roman, he then eventually goes for another spear, and Seth gets out of the way, and the referee gets nailed with the spear, and Roman wiped this guy out like boom, man, like he got hit with a train or something, leaving both men in the ring. And at this point, we're wondering, okay, what type of shenanigans is gonna go down, because this match has been fire and doesn't need any interference. It just needs nothing else. It's a great one-on-one match, and we've been so conditioned in WWE that, like, okay, once the referee goes down, you hear it in the audience, because they're expecting that there's gonna be some shenanigans. And man, you guys know it, we've been through those matches that are so good one-on-one. It just needs to be one-on-one, no shenanigans, no buffoonery, no cheating. Just have these guys fight straight up and let it be it. And thankfully that's what it ended up being for this match. They just use the referee bump as a way to kind of emotionally get you invested in thinking that, oh, it's going to happen, but then it doesn't. So there you go. That's kind of like the swerve is there was no swerve. All right. So with the referee out, Seth Rollins grabs a chair, and they do the camera angle exactly as it was 12 years ago on Monday Night Raw when this all started, when Seth first turned on the Shield to join the Authority to kickstart his main event push back in 2014. But Roman senses it and turned back and smacks Rollins with the chair flying out of his hands. Roman then grabs the chair, and it looks like he's gonna hit Seth in the back, just like he wanted to, and he actually did do it at WrestleMania 40. But Roman finally lets it all go and throws the chair, which had to be a good symbolization that he's finally letting go of the past. Roman then demands that they're going to the end of this in the ring, face to face in the middle. And Michael Cole brings up on commentary, like I said, they were illustrating these mannerisms and what the wrestlers are doing. Very great, being the soundtrack to this match. How this is basically Roman saying we're going to put the past behind us and end it man to man in the ring. I thought this was tremendous character development, because that's exactly how Roman Reigns cost himself the world championship against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. He had the opportunity to take out Cody Rhodes, but then he saw Seth Rollins and he couldn't let it go. He whacked Seth Rollins in the back, and that gave Cody the time he needed to recover and hit the Crossroads 1, 2, 3 and end Roman Reigns' historic 1,316-day reign as world champion, ending the fourth longest world champion reign in history. So here Roman learned from his mistakes, and like, I'm not gonna let it go and everything. I'm not gonna let it go and this and stuff like that, because some things in life is just not worth keeping on to. As I've mentioned before, that's one of the great lessons my my stepfather taught me growing up is sometimes you got to let stuff go in life. You can't hang on to the past so that way you can move forward for the greater good. And man, did Roman Reigns do that. The character development, the way they were able to just illustrate that with no words, just actions in the ring was phenomenal. And both men are going back and forth, and Roman goes for a spear, but Seth Rollins hits the pedigree, which is similar to what they did in their first match in 2016 at Money in the Bank. And that's a callback to all their matches they've had ever since. And Seth goes for the curb stomp, but Roman ends up falling out of the way, and Seth goes for a second time and gets Roman this time, and he tries to go for a top rope curb stomp and goes for the super stomp. He goes for the super stomp, but Roman rolls out of the way and hits the spear in the middle of the ring, and then grabs and then he basically is able. And then, he ends up going ahead, landing another spear, but the referee he ends up hitting another spear, and the referee's not in sight. So as Roman Reigns gets back to his feet, both him and Seth Rollins are looking at each other face to face. Seth with barely anything left, both with determination looks on their faces, and they both have this look of it's going one way or the other at this point. At this point, if it's going one way or the other, it has to end. And it has to end now. And one more time, Seth, he hits the spear. One more time, Roman Reigns hits the spear on Seth Rollins, and then the referee out of nowhere comes flying back in. I guess he had plenty of time to recover, and he just popped right back up. He flies into the ring, and from there, he's fully healed, and he does the 1, 2, 3, and Roman Reigns gets a 100% clean win, finally defeating Seth Rollins in a world title match for the first time in WWE history. This was phenomenal. This was fantastic. This was tremendous storytelling. Roman and Seth Rollins have had so many great matches over the years, and this is possibly, I would say, the best that they've ever had. And this is the best out of a tremendous long lineup of matches, great matches that they've had. They truly topped it. And if this is the end of the feud, this was a tremendous way for it to end. And the way it all ends up tying into Roman Reigns' character development of finally letting the past go was the cherry on top. Truly great long-term storytelling. And it feels like the character arc for Roman with Seth has a fulfilling conclusion. That's what it felt like, and that's just the way it goes. After the match, both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are in the corner looking at each other. Roman then gets up. He walks to the middle of the ring and holds his fists out, just like they used to do in the days of the Shield. Seth then extends by putting the Shield mask down to the ground and collides his fists with Roman's, just like they used to do in the Shield days. Well, from there, this would have been a great moment had AEW and WWE had some sort of working relationship. It would have been cool. Just imagine the pop that would have got if out of nowhere Jon Moxley just randomly walks right in the middle between them and does the fist to give them both congratulations on a good match. But of course, we're not going to get that and everything. But I'm pretty sure we'll get that when the Shield goes into the Hall of Fame and things like that. And so the show ends with Roman basically mouthing that he loves you to the audience. He raises the world title, and Seth Rollins is looking back, disappointed, but also with a look of respect to Roman Reigns. And as Seth Rollins looks back towards the entranceway, Roman looks back and he picks up the Shield mask, and the show ends with Roman looking at Seth with a look of respect. Wow. And this concludes what I must say overall was a great SummerSlam night 2, and I think an overall great SummerSlam weekend. Phenomenal. It was great storytelling, man, just all around great storytelling. And I hope there is no more Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins matches, not because it wasn't good, not because they don't got great chemistry. Obviously they had great chemistry here, but there are just some things that I think is so good where it's like, okay, that was a masterpiece. And they had a great feud that's extended out off and on over the last 12 years. This is 14 years of history with them. I think they were saying and things of that nature, going back to 2012. So 2012 is when they debuted. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 14 years. 14 years of history all culminated here. And this is the perfect storybook ending. Let's keep it that way. No need to do this. Just like I thought Undertaker and Triple H had the best match, that they had the nice match to end with the end of an era match at WrestleMania. It could have just stayed like that, but then they had to come back and do all these other matches. I don't want to see that with Roman and Seth. And even at the post show, Triple H is talking about how if this is the last match, it's like, I want this to be the last match. There's no reason for Roman and Seth Rollins to ever have another match. Roman finally got his big win. Seth has gotten plenty of big wins, clean over Roman Reigns, the world title. Let's just end it here. This is how clean I would have wanted Roman Reigns to defeat Brock Lesnar, but they never ended up going that route. And even after the post show, Roman Reigns was talking about with Seth Rollins. He was saying that what he was saying in the ring to him is that it's been them. Basically, you're saying even since the Red Rooster was constantly always on them and everything. And he was talking about even when Dean Ambrose left, they knew it was going to be the two of them still holding down the fork at this place, still, carrying the WWE company. And they've both been such a big part of the main event scene, from the later PG era to throughout the entire reality era. Yeah, pretty much. No, yeah, during the entire reality era is when they debuted, going into the pandemic era and into the Renaissance era. And I know some people like to call this the Ruthless Depression era, but Renaissance era nonetheless. the aka the current era in WWE, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have been through it all, and this is just the perfect storybook ending, the perfect character development ending. This is a great ending to Roman Reigns' character arc of never being able to get over what Seth Rollins did with that chair. And he did a great promo talking about how, God is the best storyteller, and that this is what he teaches his kids, is that you make mistakes and you use those mistakes to learn how to get better. Just great around stuff. I love when pro wrestling can apply to life like this. Like, it was just phenomenal. A masterclass in storytelling. Roman Reigns putting out another banger at WrestleMania with CM Punk this year, and now another banger with Seth Rollins this year. Phenomenal. I can't go out of your way to see it. Definitely check it out. I can't use the words phenomenal, fantastic, tremendous anymore. You all could probably already tell how high this one is going to rank when I rank the matches. Overall, a really good SummerSlam weekend. SummerSlam, I thought, blew WrestleMania out of the park this year, because WrestleMania, night one was it was what it was. Night two was on a whole other level. Like, night one was like down here, night two was up here, but here consistently night one and night two I thought both delivered. Like I said, I would have loved to seen Seth Rollins. I would have loved to seen Seth Rollins, basically. I would have loved to seen Trick Williams retain the championship. And there were some matches that were way better than others, but I didn't think, once again, there was a bad match. There was no bad match at all at this SummerSlam. Every match was either good to great, and hey, that's all we can always ask for as WWE and professional wrestling fans.